It's Thursday, April the 16th. Here's what we're working on this morning. The federal government is
I'm Emily Huang reporting live in Hamilton. The federal government says it's seriously considering putting a ban on social media for kids under 16. We'll have the details coming up.
More than 150 inmates have been improperly released from Ontario's jails over several years.
Zetterlund looking for his first goal against Toronto. Toronto's got one.
And the Leafs close out their season with a loss, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to go through the fog and the mist this morning to see if we can see Brian. It is so foggy, but only up on the higher elevations.
Yeah.
Like I found once I was driving through like downtown Hamilton today, it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Fine, yeah, but everybody else, I mean, even into Burlington, Oakville, there's a lot of fog, Niagara as well, but Hamilton in that, down in the city is not too bad. Oh, but it is so foggy for the rest of us here this morning, and I'll tell you why. We have a fog advisory in effect at the moment, and we have a special weather statement about the amount of precipitation for the day today. The temperature right now we rounded up to 13, but the temperature right now is 12.6 exactly. The dew point is 12.4. So when you get to the dew point, which we're pretty well at right now, the sky, the atmosphere becomes saturated. It can't hold the moisture invisibly like it normally would. So you see the moisture, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Yeah, you can just pick out the cars there. But yeah, fog advisory in effect. It should dissipate once that temperature warms up and the air is able to absorb that moisture so that we can see a bit better. But we are again today going to get showers and thunderstorms. As I said, special weather statement about the amount of precipitation. Yesterday we had about 18 mils. Today we could get another 10 to 20 mils before we start to see the end of it later on tonight. So we'll talk about the details on that coming up. By the way, right now we are sitting at 13, climbing to 21 with a humidex of 26 today. Traffic this morning, if you can see it, that's the 403 and Waterdown Road area. Yeah, a lot of fog. Be really careful. Slow down. Give yourself extra time. To some MTO traffic cameras. See if we can spot anything. Look at the Red Hill Creek. Now, this isn't bad here as far as the fog is concerned, so that looks pretty good. We'll climb to the top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge on this shot. Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us. Niagara-bound coming towards us. And then we'll flip ahead to third line. As you can see, it's really foggy going from Burlington to Oakville as well. So, yeah, lots of care this morning. We'll look at weather and traffic coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Thank you, Brian. The federal government is considering a social media ban for anyone in Canada under 16. And it's not the first time the Liberals have pushed for this. Emily Wong joins us now live in Hamilton with more.
That's right. The federal government is considering a ban on social media for anyone under the age of 16. And this has regained traction after the National Liberal Convention in Montreal last week. Yesterday in Ottawa, Minister of Culture Mark Miller says that they will require some changes.
Online harms don't end as soon as you turn 15 or 16 or 17. We have some work to do, frankly, if we want to get it right. The politics perhaps of it are convenient, but the policy has to be right as well.
The Liberal government reconvened the Expert Advisory Group on Online Safety last month. The group was initially created in 2022 to inform the government's Bill 63, the proposed Online Harms Act. That bill would make changes to the Criminal Code and the Canadian Human Rights Act, all in the name of protecting youth from harmful content online. The bill died on the order paper, when Parliament was prorogued last January.
Obviously, we take note of decisions that the party may take, but are not necessarily bound by resolutions on the floor, but instead are going to do the policy work to understand the best solution to ensure that we protect kids against harmful experiences.
At the convention last week, the Liberal Party members voted in favor of a resolution protecting Canadian youth from social media harms. The resolution suggested the government set a minimum age of 16 to create social media accounts, to establish a regulatory framework, to create a digital safety body, and invest in digital literacy and mental health supports for youth. I spoke with some teens in our area when I was covering this story last week, most of whom were not so thrilled.
Be very, very sad, and I don't know what I would resort to be honest.
It'd be kind of hard to get rid of them now, or like banning it for like 16 and below, but I feel like it's part of like teens' life nowadays, and like it's really bad for us, but I think it's also kind of, we need it.
The federal government, along with its advisory body, says its commitment to protecting youth from online harms remains steady. And now with the Liberal Party at a parliamentary majority, the bill once tabled, the future of the bill is almost guaranteed. For now, Rick, I'll send things back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Emily. A Stony Creek woman tells CHCH News that she became sick after dining at Piper Arms following a recent salmonella outbreak. The woman did not want to be identified, but says doctors confirmed that she and her husband suffered a salmonella infection. Hamilton Public Health says so far there are 9 confirmed cases of the infection connected to the restaurant, and at least 7 people have been sent to hospital. They're still investigating the specific cause of the outbreak, but no specific food item is tied to the cases. The Stony Creek woman, who spoke with CHCH, says she and her husband ate there 2 weeks ago and felt sick the next day.
I was woke up by something that felt like my husband was standing on my chest, and I couldn't feel my arm, and it wrapped around into the back of my left-hand side. Before I knew it, lots of tests were being done, echoes were by the bed, and a cardiologist came in and said that they thought that I was having a heart attack.
The restaurant told CHCH News it is fully cooperating with the investigation and is waiting for a review of the health department's tests and will issue a statement as soon as the results are available.
The Hamilton Public Library wants more help addressing the opioid crisis along York Boulevard downtown. That's where the library's central branch is located. Library officials and the Canadian Mental Health Association of Hamilton have asked city councillors for more help and perhaps even a task force with other agencies. A 2-month library card access pilot project is underway at the central branch to deal with the number of drug overdoses. Library officials say in the first 5 weeks of this year, there were 45 overdoses, and staff had to administer life-saving measures.
We're hoping to make sure that council understands the seriousness of the toxic drug crisis and how it's impacting our downtown and other parts of the city. We want to make sure that we're working together to get supports for people.
That's Hamilton's chief librarian. The library has taken funding from literacy programs to address the drug issue, and the children's section has been moved from the main floor of the central branch for safety reasons.
More than 150 inmates have been improperly released from Ontario jails. Premier Doug Ford says the situation is unacceptable and says he and the province's Solicitor General will get to the bottom of what happened. Global News discovered government documents through Freedom of Information laws showing the province mistakenly released 157 inmates between 2021 and 2025. The documents say the majority of the errors were made at the jails and in court. Ontario jails hold people awaiting court hearings or serving sentences of less than 2 years.
Heads up if your travels tonight will take you over the Burlington Skyway Bridge towards Niagara. Rehabilitation work to extend the life of the bridge is set to continue this evening, weather permitting. Now, this is a live shot this morning of those lanes that will be closed. The Niagara-bound lanes of the QEW will be closed from 10 o'clock tonight until 6 o'clock tomorrow. Eastport Drive will remain open for drivers to get to their Niagara-bound destinations. There is another big honor for an award-winning restaurant in Niagara. Restaurant Pearl Morissette in Lincoln has won this year's Art of Hospitality Award from North America's 50 Best Restaurants. It has been honored for excellence in service and overall dining experience. The restaurant overlooks the Pearl Morissette Winery, a garden, and an orchard. A spokesperson for North America's 50 Best Restaurants says what sets restaurant Pearl Morissette apart is, quote, how effortlessly the team combines creativity, sustainability, and genuine care for their guests. They say every visit feels personal and considered. About 600 people were on hand for the United Way Golden Horseshoe Gala in Burlington last night. A chance to celebrate the fundraising success of the past year and to look forward. My own buddy here at the desk, Rick Zamprin, was the master of ceremonies and helped everybody celebrate the accomplishment of raising more than $12 million for Halton and Hamilton, a figure even more impressive given recent economic realities.
It's always incredible to see community come together and support. This year in particular, there were a lot of challenges. There's an affordability crisis. People are struggling to stretch their dollars as far as they can go. But the fact that so many people in community came together to make this result possible is just amazing.
Hamilton, Halton, Niagara, the Brant County area, there's so many giving individuals, corporations who are willing to offer some money, offer a helping hand, help the United Way to get to their campaign goal year after year. It's an amazing set of people who are helping each and every year. There's a lot of need in our community, from gas prices to the cost of food to the cost of living. United Way does an amazing job of bringing people together to help those who need some help.
They do an amazing job of raising that money to the John C. Munro Hamilton International Airport plane pull, and the Sleepless in Our Community initiatives are just two examples of how the United Way raises funds and awareness. And you were involved in both of them. Mm-hmm. But I won the plane.
You did win the plane.
Oh, did
yes.
I get that?
That came up last night, too.
Okay.
Yeah, I made sure of that.
Thank you.
Well, good news and bad news for the Maple Leafs. The bad news is they're, of course, not going to the playoffs. On the flip side, their miserable season has finally come to an end.
Drake in front, and that's healed wide by Zetterlund. Zetterlund looking for his first goal against Toronto. Fogel's got one.
Warren Foegele and Drake Batherson scoring power play goals to give Ottawa a 2-0 lead after 2 periods, and the Senators went on to beat Toronto 3-1. William Nylander scored the lone goal for the Leafs, his 30th of the season, and Dennis Hildeby made 35 saves. The Leafs ended their season with 7 straight losses and also recorded losing streaks of 5, 6, and 8 consecutive games this year. Toronto finished with the 5th worst record in the NHL, which means, depending on how the draft lottery goes, they have a good chance of retaining their top 5 protected draft pick that was included in last season's Brendan Carlo trade with Boston. It also marked the last broadcast for longtime TV and radio announcer Joe Bowen, who's retiring after 44 years and 3,834 games. Wyatt Johnston scored the shootout winner to lead the Stars to a 4-3 victory over the Sabres for their 3rd straight 50-win season. Buffalo's Alex Tuck netted his 200th career goal in the loss, but failed on his shootout attempt. The Golden Knights clinched the Pacific Division title after beating Seattle 4-1. Mitch Marner broke a 1-1 tie in the 3rd period, and Riley Smith scored twice for Vegas, who are 7-0-1 since John Tortorella took over as head coach. New York scored 3 unanswered goals in the 3rd period to stun the Scepters 3-2. Rookie Casey O'Brien scored the winner as the Sirens rallied from a 2-0 deficit in the final frame. New York and Toronto now tied for 5th place in the PWHL, 2 points behind Ottawa for the final playoff spot with 3 games left. Brantford Bulldogs have swept their way to the Ontario Hockey League's Eastern Conference Final.
Lachenko wheeling in the offensive zone, throws it to the net, they score! Jake O'Brien with the deflection, and the Bulldogs go ahead 4-3.
Jake O'Brien scored the winner in the 3rd period as the Dogs beat North Bay 5-3 last night, eliminating the Battalion in 4 straight games. Brentford took a 3-0 lead in the 1st period, only to see North Bay tie the game at 3 by the midway point of the 2nd. But the captain broke the tie with his 3rd goal of the postseason. The Bulldogs will play either Barrie or Ottawa in the conference final. The Colts are up 2-1. 2 more NBA play-in games last night. Steph Curry scored 27 of his 35 points in the second half as Golden State shaded the Clippers 126-121. The Warriors raced a 13-point deficit in the 4th quarter and now travel to Phoenix, with the winner moving on to face Oklahoma City in the first round of the playoffs. Tyrese Maxey had 31 points and 6 assists in Philadelphia's 109-97 win over Orlando. The win secures the 7th seed in the East for the 76ers and a playoff date with Boston. The Magic can still earn the 8th seed if they beat Charlotte tomorrow night. It's back to the loss column for the Blue Jays. The Brewers scored a couple of runs in the bottom of the 8th inning and snapped a 6-game slide by beating Toronto 2-1. The Jays wasted a brilliant performance from Dylan Cease, who allowed just 2 hits. He struck out 6 over 6 shutout innings. The rubber match goes this afternoon.
All right, it's 6:15 and it's Thursday morning, 16th of April. Lots of fog. Actually, that looks a little bit better at the moment than it did at 6 o'clock this morning. You could hardly see anything on that camera, but looking at that camera, nothing going on there traffic-wise, but be really careful this morning. So traffic, that's doing fine. Let's check some MTO traffic cameras. Fog? What fog? St. Catharines doesn't have any at all. So look at the QEW in Glendale. That's doing fine. The Red Hill Creek camera, no problems right there. But when you start to come around, head to Burlington, the QEW 403 junction, that's pretty foggy. Continuing all the way through east of Royal Windsor into Oakville, and the QEW at Etobicoke Creek, fairly foggy there as well, but it's not as foggy in Hamilton as we mentioned down in the city, but on the escarpment it is very foggy. Be really careful. So let's talk about temperature, because fog is temperature dependent. When it gets down to a certain point, the dew point we call it, at 12.4, and we're sitting actually at 12.6, we just round that up, that's where the air is completely saturated, can't hold any more moisture, and you start to see it, and that's what we're seeing right now. Lots of fog. Temperature, well, 12.6. The winds are fairly light. The humidity is right up there, and that all contributes to that fog formation that we have. So fog advisory in effect. So today we're going to climb to 21 degrees, humidex of 26. Bit of a wind will pick up. It'll shift to the west a little later on today. But again, showers and thunderstorms, special weather statement talking about the amount of precipitation. We could get another 10 to 20 millimeters for the day today on top of what we got yesterday, about 18. So that low pressure system crosses us, brings all the instability. Behind it, we're going to start to see a little bit of clearing, and that'll happen overnight. And tomorrow, we're going to see some sunshine. What? Some sunshine for the day tomorrow, and it'll stay on the mild side. But today, temperatures anywhere from 20 to 21 degrees to 22. Humidex about 26 actually today. But again, showers and thunderstorms. Tonight, they could linger into the evening, but then overnight the skies will be fairly cloudy to partly cloudy. Temperatures 7, 8, 9, 10 for Toronto tonight. And then tomorrow, temperatures a little bit cooler into the teens, 19, 18, well, 20 for Brantford, but we'll start to see a little bit more sunshine a little later on in the afternoon. So at least we'll get some sun. It'll be mild. But out the door this morning, it is foggy. The winds are light. The temperature right now, 13. Long range coming up. Manette, right?
Okay, right after the break, business news, and we'll tell you why Canada's home sale forecast for this year has been downgraded. Coming up on 6:20 on your Thursday morning, in overseas trading this morning, the Canadian dollar's edged up a little bit to 72.86 cents U.S. Gold is up $9 U.S. an ounce, and oil is up from a big fall yesterday. So it's up this morning $1.18, under $90 a barrel right now. In midday trading in Europe, London, Frankfurt, and Paris are all up slightly.
Asian markets were all up today, led by Tokyo's Nikkei with a gain of nearly 1,400 points. At yesterday's close on Bay and Wall Street, the TSX was up 53 points.
Well, the Canadian Real Estate Association has downgraded its forecast for home sales activity this year. It had originally predicted that home sales would be up more than 5% this year. Now it's dropped that forecast to a 1% increase. It says rising global economic uncertainty, along with a jump in fixed mortgage rates tied to higher incoming higher inflation, has, quote, already piled on to a shaky economic start to the year. The national average home price, by the way, is forecast to rise 1.5% to about $689,000, about $10,000 lower than predicted in January.
Statistics Canada says manufacturing sales rose 3.6% to $71 billion in February. This as several auto assembly plants ramped up operations following planned maintenance and retooling shutdowns. The increase came as sales rose in 12 of the 21 subsectors. It was led by transportation equipment, which gained almost 19%.
Live Nation has promised to appeal a ruling against it by a U.S. jury. A jury found the concert giant and its Ticketmaster subsidiary engaged in an anti-competitive monopoly. The New York jury decided on claims from dozens of U.S. states. Live Nation Entertainment owns, operates, or controls bookings for hundreds of venues. Ticketmaster is the world's largest ticket seller for live events. The civil case, initially led by the U.S. federal government, accused Live Nation of using its reach to smother competition.
All right, quick break right now. Brian is going to be back with your traffic update and your 7-day weather forecast. Good morning.
Good morning, 6:25 already on this Thursday morning. Notice there's no fog here in St. Catharines. It's pretty, well, the sun's not quite up yet, but the reason for that is because it's a little bit milder and the air can hold the moisture without having to see it. So a little bit milder, but no problems on the roads right there. Now you start to see some fog as you head toward the Skyway Bridge. Here's the top of the Skyway, Toronto bound away from us. Very foggy here at Third Line, still all the way through Sheraton and continuing the 403, even all the way up to the 401. The fog continues, so fog advisory in effect this morning for a lot of areas, but not the Niagara Peninsula. So let's talk about temperatures right now. Hamilton's temperature is 13. That's a round up from 12.6 actually, which is right around the dew point. That's why we have the fog. 8 for Toronto, 11 for Grimsby, and 10 into Mississauga right now. So yeah, Thursday today. Those are our sun times, our seasonal temperatures, 12 and 2. So yesterday we got to 22, so way above seasonal temperatures. Continue records for today. And again, it's going to be fairly unsettled today. We're going to have cloud showers, possible thunderstorms, 16 for the first bell, 21 for after school today. The instability continues. So 21 today with a humidex of 26. We could get another 10 to 20 millimeters of precipitation. So 9 degrees overnight tonight. The sky will be fairly cloudy, but it'll try to clear. And then tomorrow we're going to see a bit of sunshine. A little bit cooler, 17. 19 showers Saturday, and then the temperature falls. 6 degrees Sunday, 5 only on Monday. At least we'll get some sunshine all the way through Earth Day on Wednesday. That's your forecast. Annette, Rick.
Okay, look at these shocking moments caught on camera when a professional surfer was surrounded by dozens of sharks.
Brett Barley was fishing off the coast of Cape Point in North Carolina on Monday when he stumbled across this feeding frenzy. Barley was driving a personal watercraft and was able to quickly pull out his GoPro to record this stunning event. Barley says if you see a lot of sharks above the surface, there's probably more below. Wow. Despite the excitement, he managed to stay calm and drove through the shark-infested area safely. That is scary.
I bet he was glad he wasn't surfing then. Yikes.
Well, and to have the intestinal fortitude to take out the GoPro and, you know what, I'm going to film this event.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I'd like to see an aerial shot of that.
Yeah, and how many sharks were there.
Yeah, very cool.
Stay with us. More to come after the break here on Morning Live. I knew it.